So, Daniel Jamieson, you're going to be presenting one or more of your works with your orchestra, the Dan Jam Orchestra. Tell us first of all about the orchestra itself. This is an orchestra you put together.
Yes, I put it together. It took a few years to find all the right musicians and all that. I moved to New York about 3 years ago, and 2 years later we recorded this CD. So over the course of those couple of years, I was finding all the right musicians for the project and putting the orchestra together.
And you said something very important to me about the musicians, that when you're writing a piece for this orchestra, you're not just writing for a saxophone or a trumpet, you are writing for specific individuals. I wonder if you could elaborate on that.
Right, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of the special things about my ensemble in particular. It's one thing to compose just for a generic set of instruments, but to be able to compose with a certain player with a unique sound and voice in mind is really something special, and it actually helped my compositions grow. It's a really different way to write when you have a certain player in mind and know how they're going to respond and interact with the other members of the band, and that's my favorite part of working with my orchestra.
And apropos that, when you write something for a soloist who's an improviser, some things are written out very specifically and other things leave room for the player to improvise. Tell us a bit more about that process.
When I'm writing a piece, somewhere along the line, it's either inspired by a particular musician, or maybe I'm writing a piece and then I realize that so-and-so would be perfect to be featured in the piece, and that's the exciting thing about performing improvised jazz in a live setting. It's going to be different every single time, and sometimes it'll be the way I pictured it, and sometimes it won't be the way I picture it, and it'll be even better. And that's where I get the joy out of writing this music.
Now, you yourself are a player, you're a saxophonist, and you improvise in addition to, of course, playing what's written. In your own improvisations, what are some characteristics of what you do when you improvise?
Well, maybe I'll talk a bit about improvising specifically in large ensembles.
Right.
Because it's a little different than playing with a small group. One of the things I always try to think about is in a large ensemble piece, it's a little bit more structured than playing with a small jazz ensemble, in which the piece is going along and I have to improvise from this point to this point, and the composition around it is set. So I have to carry the music from point B to point C, and how to do that while keeping the integrity of the rest of the composition in mind. And sometimes I succeed. I like to hope I usually succeed, and sometimes you don't, but that's what I try to keep in mind when I'm improvising in large groups.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I know we're all looking forward to hearing your new piece.
Great, thanks so much.